Welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on this week's episode of Teen Mom 2. I keep forgetting to bring this up, but remember, I've got an affiliate link to the VPN that I use to watch full episodes of Teen Mom when I'm not in Canada. So if you want to watch from outside of Canada, make sure to get the VPN through the affiliate link in the description box down below. So I just want to skip the stuff that doesn't really matter all that much because there was a lot of drama going on between Kail and Leah's boyfriend Jaylan being obsessed with her kids. Let's get into it, okay? So we start off with a screenshot of Kail leaking Chris Lopez's baby news on Instagram, and I guess he chewed her ass out about it because when it came time to talk about it on the show, she was very quiet. She said that Chris told her to stop talking about his family, stop talking about his child, so she just doesn't really want to get into it at all. And then she shows how truly vindictive and bitter and nasty she is when she tells the producer that she hopes that Chris abandons Lux and Creed when his new baby comes. Like, is this y'all fave? Like, because sometimes you guys really be going hard for her in the comments, like, against me. And I'm like, is this y'all's fave? Because this is just so nasty. Like, imagine praying for your children's dad to walk out of their lives and choose their new sibling over them. Like, that is wild to me. The fact that she had that thought and that she vocalized that thought and that she was not regretful of what it was that she had just said, because that is just plain astounding to me. And then she complains that Chris lives 1 hour away from their new house and stuff, and says that he needs to move closer in order to be more involved with the boys, or don't be involved at all, which is comical because Kail has moved far away from every baby daddy that she's had, right? So when she met Javi, what did she do? She moved across state without getting Joe's permission. And then Joe followed her into the state and then moved, super close to her. And she decided to move away because she was not happy with that. Then when she met Chris, what happens? She moves to be closer to him and further away from all the other baby daddies. Like, it was like a 1 hour plus drive for all the other baby daddies to see their kids. And then here she is she just built this new house, and she already has gone into this house saying that she doesn't plan to live there forever. She's going to move again. So how many times are all of these men expected to keep moving around because Kail cannot plant roots anywhere? And then not only that, but Chris always lived far away from Kail. That was always like a big issue with the other baby daddies, like how far away Chris lived, and didn't Chris live an hour away when Kail got knocked up in the strip mall parking lot? Didn't he, wasn't he uninvolved in trying to sign away his rights to Lux when she let him knock her up, on the kitchen counter with Creed? And he still lived super far away. It just does not make any kind of sense what she's saying here. I really cannot stand when people complain about situations that they have not curated, particularly curated for themselves and their lives. Everything that Chris is everything that Kail accepted, and decided that she wanted in a baby daddy. And now here she is trying to complain about it. It's crazy to me. Now, over in Florida, I was a little bit shocked in the car scene when Stella, I realized she's talking like a big girl. Like, she really is growing up. Like, where does the time go, you guys? It was really cute how she wanted to talk to Devon on the phone. First, she mentioned wanting to talk to her dad. Then afterwards, she's like, actually, no, I know he ain't SHIT. Let me talk to Devon. And so Brianna calls up Devon. Devon talks to her for a little bit, and I thought that was adorable. And then Brianna brings up Lewis again. And by that point, Stella had lost interest in the idea of speaking to Lewis. So I really did not like how Brianna insisted on calling him, especially because she knows that she knew he would not pick up. That guy, you were just complaining about how he's never present, never wants anything to do with the kid, doesn't care that she's got all these heart problems and stuff like that. So why would you insist on calling him like that just so that he could not pick up and then your daughter feel rejected? I really did not understand the purpose of that, especially after such a good moment with Devon. It was a really way to end that car ride. Let's get into the weirdness that is Jaylan, okay? Well, we're not getting into the heart of it because it's really bad, but we're going to start at the top. So Jaylan announces to Leah that he's actually able to move to Charleston, West Virginia, because he's now able to work remotely for his company. And then he invites her and the girls to spend Christmas with his family in North Carolina. And mind you, this is about 4 months into their relationship. Christmas would be. So right now they're not even 4 months, but Christmas is about 4 months into their relationship. And so remember, he met these girls at about 1.5, almost 2 months into their relationship. He started spending the night at Leah's place with the girls in the house as well, around 2 months into the relationship. And now the girls are going to meet his family about 4 months into this like rapid fire relationship. Also worth noting, we do get to look at Chris's house. It's actually cute and nice and stuff. So I didn't realize he had a house yet. So that was a nice surprise over there. So he and his friends talk about his new baby, like, you know, on the way and stuff. And I laughed when he was like, you know, kind of marveling about being like a father of 3 kids and like a 1-year-old and a newborn. I'm like, you know, it's pretty easy for you because you only see your 1-year-old like what, like 20 times a year or something like that. So let's not act like it's going to be this overwhelming, like crazy, how will he manage it all kind of thing, you know, like calm it down. Of course, Chris and his new baby mama aren't in a relationship. It's just a situationship. Honestly, I really hate these types of situations. Like, it's just so unfair for the kids, you know, just instability all the way around. So baby mama number 2, Chris says he praises her that she allows him to have more input into decisions about baby's name, crib, like stuff like that. And it makes him feel like, you know, like he has to step up more because he's being treated like a father and stuff like that. And then his friend Brad, who hosts that like podcast with him, says that, you know, co-parenting with this woman is going to be easier than Kail because she's a lot less drama and less toxicity. And I felt like Kail probably like threw her remote at the TV at that point. She was probably fuming, you know, to hear them say that. So now back over in Florida again, how cute was it that Devon held Stella's hand when they went to go get that ice cream, you know, like they went out with Nova and stuff, just the 3 of them. And I just love the 3 musketeers here. I think it's just so adorable, and I really, really, really love the role that Devon plays in Stella's life. You know, I feel like he's really helping to fill that hole in her, you know, like no pun intended, you know what I mean, but like he really helps to fill that hole in her heart that her father Lewis put there. So now Lewis, his dad, actually sent Brianna $500 to get Stella a birthday gift and a Christmas gift as well, which I thought was sweet. But I would like for to hear about him and his wife making an effort to see their granddaughter as well. In West Virginia, Jaylan moves into his new house, and you know, when he opens the door for Leah and her daughters to come in, we go to his living room, and what does this man who has been dating Leah for like 3-4 months at this point have on his wall? A family photo of himself with Leah and the kids. I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, why was there a photographer hired to shoot a family portrait at 3 months of dating? That's very odd. Very, 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 very odd to me. And then not only that, but why does this guy have it like hanging up in his wall? Like, that's really weird and creepy. Addie said it was cute, but I was like, girl, that's a red flag. Leah then gives him a canvas photograph of himself as his housewarming gift. And I just know that that guy, as much as he loves photos of himself, kisses it every night before he goes to bed. He probably salutes to it and everything. So as he's hanging it up on the wall, Addie says that's a hunk of a chunk of a man right there. And I was like, how old is this child? Is she not like 8 years old or something like that? Like, that's a weird thing to be saying about your mom's boyfriend. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was so odd. And you just know Leah, her bestie Leah, who just wants to be besties with these girls, is having these inappropriate conversations with her. I was like, that's freaking weird. After that, he decides to take them on a tour of his office space. And the first thing I noticed in his office was that he had another family photo with Leah and the girls hanging up in his office. And I'm like, again, you've known these kids for like, at that point, 2 months or something, like, you know, because she introduced him at like a month and a half, 2 months. And so now they're like at 3 months, almost 4 months into dating. So he's known those kids for 2 months. And I don't know, somewhere early on, maybe in the first month, the first week, they went and shot these family photos. And then like he's been printing them out and hanging them around his house. This random like 25-year-old guy, like, what? It's so weird to me. None of this is appropriate. It's all so odd and red flag worthy. Like, I really want to know what his end game is here, because it's just not, it's not seeming authentic. It's not seeming genuine. It's seeming creepy and just like weird and forced and rushed. When it comes to Leah's boyfriends, I would actually rank him up there with that Dirty John Jason guy, like, because this is just too much. So Brianna and Lewis meet up for lunch, and he doesn't want cameras in there because I think at this point he's tired of being scolded about, you know, how big of a deadbeat he is, which I understand him like being tired of it being put out there, but listen, step it up if you don't want these conversations on the show anymore. Brianna like talks to him and stuff, but like her crying voice, like her voice when she starts crying, like it just sounds like phlegm to me. So I have to kind of like cover my ears a little bit because it just, I don't know, it grosses me out. Anyway, Lewis promises for the millionth time that he's going to start showing up more for Stella, but we all know that's not true. He says that every single year and it just never happens. And then we find out when Brianna kind of recaps it to her mom that Lewis never even asked her about Stella's heart, which is like, listen, your daughter, she's wearing a heart monitor and you're aware of that and you're not even asking about the condition of her heart at this point. Like, that's crazy. But then again, Stella didn't she have an operation or something when she was born or when she was a newborn for her heart, and he never even like checked in or anything like that? Like, that's just who he is. It's very unfortunate, but it just is who he is, you know? And then Brianna and her mom kind of talk about it all, and I felt really, really bad. Really bad, but at the same time, it was a necessary conversation to air on the show because it's a PSA, you guys. It really is a PSA to be careful because a lot of these men out there are trash. So don't go, get knocked up by a man that you met DJing at the club on the first night, because this is most likely what you're going to end up with, because it's just too big of a risk and too big of a gamble to take. And it really is sad to see the way that Brianna has had to shoulder everything when it comes to their daughter on her own. And not only that, but like Devon now has to kind of step in and fill in that place, in some respect as well. And then her mother and her sister, like it really takes a village, especially when it comes to Stella and other children like her, where the dads just ain't shit. It's got a lot of repercussions. I do also have to add, you guys, that I did have a little bit of difficulty feeling too bad sometimes in this, and it sounds really bad, but it's because Lewis has always been like crap to Stella, and he's always like never really cared. Like even after she had the initial issues with her heart and stuff, what happened? Brianna kept sleeping with him, right? And then simultaneously treating Devon, who has always stepped up for Stella, who's not even his daughter. She's been berating him on the show and online for years. So, like that kind of was something that was in the back of my head as well, especially like keeping in mind the way that Devon went out of his way to speak to Stella on the phone and stuff, and then to take her and Nova out for ice cream. It's like, this, like, count your blessings with that guy at the end of the day. Now, Kail goes over to Atlanta, I believe it is, to shoot an episode of her podcast. And then her producer brings up Chris's kid being born, and Kail freaks out while Lindsay calls the child it like 10 times. At first I'm like, okay, listen, like when you don't know the gender of the baby, you're kind of like, oh, like, oh, it's been born. Like, I get it, kind of like being like a throwaway comment, like, oh, you know what I mean? But like the fact that she just kept saying it, oh, it's been born. Do you know if it's a boy or a girl? Oh, you're not going to talk about it? Oh, it's this, it's that. Like, she kept on saying it, like really trying to hammer it in to the point where I'm like, are you doing this on purpose? Because you're a weirdo if you're talking about like an innocent newborn baby like that on purpose, trying to like dehumanize the child. It's just because you're trying to stick up for your friend who's just like, miserable and bitter and angry at the entire world. Like, but you know what? Let me not get into the fact that Kail and Lindsay are eventually going to fall out, because Kail falls out with literally everybody, right? Let's skip over that part. But honestly, I think the main reason why Kail did not really want to talk about it is because Kail did not want to cry about the fact that it really sucks for her, because I think she's still in love with Chris and everything. And then here he is with a new kid and she's expected to talk about it. Like, I feel like that's what it was more than like the legalities or anything like that. Because listen, Chris could not threaten a lawyer on Kail. Chris just moved out of his grandma's attic, and Kail has a lot of money. So let's kind of get over that. Like, I don't buy that for 1 second, you guys. When we get back over to West Virginia, it's the twins' birthday, and then they have like a little birthday dinner, and Jaylan, of course, has to be present for it because he's him. So he gives like a toast and stuff, and he says that he's happy to be part of their family. And I'm like, what do you mean part of their family? You've known them for like 2, 3, because they officially started dating in August. September, October, November, December. So you've known them for like 4 months at this point. So what do you mean you're happy to be part of their family? And Victoria actually said not yet. And I'm like, oh my God, imagine, how scary is it when the chick who gets knocked up, when she, like the instant she meets like a random Costa Rican kayaking instructor on vacation, imagine that she's the voice of reason over you, like a PhD student, like a super highly educated person. Like, it's insane to me. But that did not last that long, because, you know, Victoria then asked the twins how they feel about Jaylan directly in front of Jaylan. Like, obviously they're not going to say anything negative in front of him. Like, nobody would, you know? So after that, they have Christmas dinner with Jaylan's family. It looked like they had a nice Christmas dinner. It looked like Jaylan's family liked Leah and everything, so that's nice. Which, by the way, when I like caught a glimpse of family reunion, somebody asked Jaylan like how his family thought about Leah, like if they liked her, and he kind of skirted the question, so I was a little bit nervous. But it seems like they like her like just enough, like on this show. Back in Florida, Louis FaceTimes Stella, but she runs away from talking to him, which was sad, you know. But like I don't blame her, because she doesn't know that man. Like, that man has never been there for her at all. Like, he just comes in and out like once a year or something like that. And I about spit out my popcorn when he asked Stella, he's like, so why do you have a fanny pack on? I'm like, you are so dumb, sir. You are so dumb. Like, she has a heart condition, the heart condition that you never asked about, even though you're aware that she has it. So like, are you not embarrassed to be this big of a deadbeat, to not know that your daughter is wearing a heart monitor? Like, that was the type of question that like a child at school would ask her. You know what I mean? But like the fact that her own father has to ask her why she's wearing a medical device. Like, he didn't even realize it was a medical device. Like, the fact that you don't remember is just insane to me. It's insane to me. I could see why you don't want to be on TV, because every time you're on TV, you look dumb as hell. That is wild. Anyway, you guys, that does it. A recap of what went down on this week's episode of Teen Mom 2. And don't forget, if you want to watch it, you live outside of Canada, make sure to get a VPN. I've got the affiliate link to the one that I normally use in the description box down below. But outside of that, let me know what you thought about this episode. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.